Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. I'm Bill.
Now, DK,
And DK, are you ready to survive?
I don't know if I'm ready, but we're going to do it.
We're going to do our best because
First, the first Survivor
the
Series.
first, I honestly believe since we've started this is the first time we're doing the first of something, of a major show, I mean.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I said we should do something from 87, I didn't put it together that this was the first Survivor Series.
Yeah.
It just happened to work out. And that's kind of funny how we haven't done a first. Maybe we should do more of these.
Maybe. Okay. So, we actually don't have a topic to discuss, which is very rare. Because last episode, we talked about Crown Jewel.
Lots of stuff happened last week.
Lots of stuff happened. So we're just gonna get right to the Survivor Series. And now I told
Let's get it.
I told DK last week that I had a surprise for him.
Oh, Jesus.
And
sleep all week, man. I'm excited.
I know. So I gotta explain this a little bit. My surprise.
Okay.
So last year we reviewed Survivor Series 91. And I thought back on it a few weeks ago and I was like, man, we missed an opportunity to do something special with that one.
Okay.
Because it was on Thanksgiving Eve.
Right.
And as you and I have talked off air, Thanksgiving's a pretty big deal to both of us.
Sure.
So I had to do a lot of special research just for you.
Okay.
Because today we're not going only around the wrestling world. We're going around the world Thanksgiving edition.
How about you were going to say around a dinner table or something?
Oh, I should have done that too.
All right.
So
we edit our videos, by the way. This is just everything is live.
It is when we're doing it.
Right.
So, of course, when you get up Thanksgiving morning as a kid, the first thing you're looking forward to is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which happens in New York every year since like the 1930s, I believe. So I wanted to give our viewers and listeners a little, history lesson of what happened on this day with the 61st Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm just going to point out some stuff. So our hosts for this are Willard Scott and WrestleMania 3 celebrity Mary Hart.
Nice. Little wrestling flavor there.
Yeah, she had a busy year, WrestleMania 3 and this parade.
Jeez.
Now we got to talk about the balloons because, kids just love balloons. Here's who they had as a giant balloon for this year. We had the debut of Spider-Man, Ronald McDonald, Snoopy, and the Snuggle Bear.
What's the Snuggle Bear?
You know the fabric softener?
Oh, the Snuggle Bear, like the bear.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Plus, we had some old favorites, including Garfield, Woody Woodpecker, Kermit the Frog, Betty Boop, Superman, and Baby Shamu. We don't have to go through the novelty balloons. They had two new ones this year: the ice cream cone and ice stars.
Okay.
I'll just mention the new floats that they had this year, which include the Fruit Juice Valley, whatever that is, the Cabbage Patch Kids Playground, a watering can, the Marvel Universe. Yes, the Marvel Universe in 1987.
Damn.
We had a clock tower and a dragon combined. SeaWorld gave us the Positively Penguin, and we had the Peanuts Ice Rink.
Nice. You went all in on this research. I love it.
I did. There's
I do
actually
have one question for you.
okay.
How many stars did Dave Meltzer give the ice cream from? Because if he got less than the evening gown match, that might just be it for me, honestly. I don't know if Dave Meltzer was doing Wrestling Observer in 1987.
All right. Well, I'm going to skip a few other things here because we'd be here all day. But I want to mention the celebrities that we had here. All right. We had Rita Coolidge sing Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher. The Oak Ridge Boys.
Can't figure out the name there.
The Oak Ridge Boys sang Hear My Heartbeat.
Okay.
The Rags to Riches Kids, I have no idea who they are, joined with the Cabbage Patch Kids to sing We Got Fun.
There's actual kids? The Cabbage Patch Kids are actual kids?
Yeah, I think they were mascots.
Oh.
We had Emmanuel Lewis, Webster himself.
Okay.
We had Barbie and the Rockers.
Like Sean and Marty?
No, not Sean and Marty, unfortunately.
Okay.
We had Patrick Swayze on horseback.
Sweet.
That is what it says. Patrick Swayze on horseback. 87 was a big year for him.
When did Dirty Dancing come out? I'm trying to figure out which.
I think it was that year, 87.
So it was Dirty Dancing Swayze. Okay.
Yeah. Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Huxtable from The Cosby Show. She sang My Favorite Time of Year.
She sang?
Yeah.
We should have reviewed the Macy's Day Parade.
I know. Well, I think the video is up on YouTube. Maybe that'll be our watch along.
Mrs. Huxtable sang?
Oh, that should be our watch along.
Yes. Okay, so you're American. I'm Canadian. Yes. Macy's Day Parade's not really a big deal for us. Right. When I did watch it, I wanted a balloon to float away and cause chaos. Did you want this as a kid, or do you still want this as an adult?
I kind of still want it now.
Like, yeah, like float away and like, what do you do?
Right.
I think I had an episode about this.
We also had this. I don't know. You may get a laugh out of this. I don't know. Dr. Joyce Brothers was in the parade.
Why did you say brothers like Hulk Hogan?
That's her last brothers.
Brothers,
Dr. Joyce Brothers.
That'd be great if she married someone with the last name Dude.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
She hyphenated her name.
Dude. Mary Hart was with John Tesh. They ended up being on Entertainment Tonight together.
Mary the Hitman Hart.
Right. We had the Osmond Boys sing Jingle Bells. Come on, we're going for a sleigh ride.
It's not Christmas, it's Thanksgiving.
Right. And of course, the feature attraction, the main event, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then you had some costumed characters, Broadway musical performance. Oh God. Okay, now we have to do the watch along of this parade.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Mary Hart sang a song
with Mrs. Huxtable duet.
Sadly, no.
Shit.
But she sang Pure Imagination.
Okay, so why is Mary Hart famous? What is she?
I think she's just a news, gossip.
Is she like the Entertainment Tonight chick?
Yeah. That's about it.
I remember a Seinfeld episode. Okay. Where Kramer kept getting seizures every
God.
time he heard her voice. It was awesome. And I believe it was Entertainment Tonight that she was like the host and like they were watching it, and then he'd start like flailing around on the couch. It's kind of crazy.
But now that we've gone through that, we've got more. Because we're going to talk about the 2 football games that happened on Thanksgiving Day.
In 87. Wow.
87. Now, this is courtesy of ProFootballReference.com. Now, the teams in this first game didn't have good seasons, but this ended up being a pretty decent game. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Detroit Lions 27-20.
Okay.
With the Chiefs win, they went to 2-9. And with the Lions loss, they went to 2-9.
So they had 2-9 teams on Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But the game of the day, and maybe the game of this week in 1987, the Minnesota Vikings outlast the Dallas Cowboys in overtime 44-38.
That's great. The Cowboys still suck. It's beautiful. Sucked in 87. They suck now.
Oh, man.
He's a Commands Kids fan, so
yes,
he loves,
I am.
he loves it.
All right.
I love this research that you did for 1987. I was 4 years old in November of 1987.
I was 2. But there's still more. Because let's say DK, that you were out of town or you didn't have pay-per-view capabilities and you couldn't watch the Survivor Series that night. Let me tell you what the 3 big networks had airing that maybe could have helped you get through. Maybe not. Who knows? ABC had an episode of the show Sledgehammer. Okay, I've never heard of that. And then an episode of The Charmings. Okay, never heard that. And then they had a special Thursday night movie, Norman Rockwell's Breaking Home Ties. Okay. Never heard of that. On CBS, it started off with Bugs Bunny's Thanksgiving Diet.
That'd be tough for me not to watch that.
Followed by Daffy Duck's Thanks for Giving special.
Oh, a little play on words. I like it.
And then, to wrap it up, part 2 of Gandhi.
Okay.
And then on NBC, you started off with a repeat of The Cosby Show and A Different World. Then you had a brand new episode of Cheers, which was titled Puddinhead Boyd. And I have a little description here.
I love Cheers.
Woody portrays Mark Twain as an understudy at a community theater. Dressed as Twain, Woody meets an elderly widow who becomes attracted to him because of the outfit. When Woody is about to reveal his true identity, the elderly widow admits that she knew Woody is 3 times younger than her and simply enjoyed his company. Sad that he did not get the role, Woody gives a portrayal of Twain for the bar customers. That could have been
I think I've seen that episode.
That sounds like a decent episode. And then you had the pilot episode of Mama's Boy. And then you wrapped it up with This Is Your Life for NBC.
Not Rock, This Is Your Life.
Right, not Rock, This Is Your Life.
Even though that was amazing.
And in this one I kind of knew. And then we're going to get to the story of the Survivor Series. If you didn't feel like watching all that stuff on the USA Network, at the same time the Survivor Series is airing, a new episode of Prime Time Wrestling was airing. The same time as the Survivor Series.
Why would they oppose themselves?
It was taped.
I know that, but why would they even what?
I know it makes no sense.
I do have when I was doing my research. Now I apologize if I'm stealing material from you.
Okay.
But did you know Vince McMahon told cable providers if they showed Starcade instead of Survivor Series, they wouldn't let them air WrestleMania 4.
Yep.
Which I found pretty smart because WrestleMania is like their number one show. It still is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and then so the NWA Starcade event opposed the first Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
that was a smart way to do it. Kind of like, hey, if you show this one, we're not going to let you show our number one show where you're going to make a lot of money off of people.
Because basically, this time, Thanksgiving, this was Starcade's like biggest show of the year. And it had been for a long time.
And then when Starcade becomes a WCW event, it becomes a later December show.
Exactly.
But it was kind of like the Thanksgiving show in NWA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the Survivor Series came, and because of that, and because of Vince's tactics,
Yeah.
The Survivor Series pretty much kicks Starcade out of the Thanksgiving position.
And this is the first Survivor Series. So do you think they created the Survivor Series to oppose Starcade?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So I wanted to be fair, I wanted to give a little bit of background to what happened at Starcade 87, to be fair. Because there may be those that prefer Starcade over the Survivor Series. So
Yep.
8,000 is the attendance. This is in Chicago, Illinois at the UIC Pavilion. They end up getting a 3.30 buy rate, which is actually a decent number.
It sounds like a good number.
Yeah, considering, they're going to lose a lot of providers because of Vince.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, no one really lost WrestleMania 4. Like, I've never heard anybody say that this company lost WrestleMania 4 because they didn't.
Probably just a threat.
Yeah, it was a threat that never.
He went through and made. They showed this.
Yeah. So Starcade. This is a 7-match card. I'll go through it quickly. We start off with a 6-man tag match. Eddie Gilbert, Larry Zbyszko, and Rick Steiner against Jimmy Garvin, Michael Hayes, and some guy named Sting. They go to a 15-minute time limit draw.
Jeez.
Yeah, boy, great way to start off the show.
Time limit draw.
Limit draw.
Was Sting was he like an up and coming wrestler at this point, or was he like known?
Oh, no, he's up and coming.
Yeah, because he's in the opening match here. Time limit draw.
Yeah. Steve Williams defeated Barry Windham to retain the UWF heavyweight title. That was the Bill Watts territory. So, then we had a scaffold match.
Which Steve Williams is that?
Dr. Death.
Not Dr. Death. Okay.
Right, not Stone Cold.
Because Steve Austin's name was Steve Williams before he changed. I just wanted to verify.
Yeah. So then we had a scaffold match. The Rock and Roll Express defeat the Midnight Express.
Scaffold match.
Mm-hmm. Then in a unification match for the NWA and UWF television titles, Nikita Koloff defeats Terry Taylor. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard defeat the Road Warriors by disqualification to retain the NWA tag team titles. Dusty Rhodes defeats Lex Luger in a steel cage match to win the United States title. And in the main event, Ric Flair defeats Ron Garvin in a steel cage to win the NWA World Heavyweight title.
That's quite the show, to be honest.
It is. I have not seen the whole show from beginning to end, so I can't really say if it's a good show or a bad show.
Sounds like a really good show. Like, I've never seen it, but with the lineup.
But we today are going to be reviewing this bad boy right here.
Is that VHS?
This is the Coliseum video version of the Survivor Series. I am holding in my hand.
Now, did you watch this on a VCR?
No, I did not. I watched it on Peacock. So I'm just showing everyone. I have this. This is a physical copy VHS. This is the front cover, and this is the back cover.
So you could have watched this on tape, and you watched it on the cock.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Come on.
I'm glad you brought it up. They edit a lot of stuff out on that videotape. Like that tape is like just barely 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to show that I had a copy of it on tape.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, the Survivor Series. This is held in Richfield, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland, in the Richfield Coliseum. 21,000 is the attendance for this show.
That's pretty big.
It's a sellout. They get a 7 rating on pay-per-view for this show. A 7.
That's an incredible number. Now, yeah. I'd like to go through more shows in this era to see how incredible that number really is.
Because the big draw to this is the fact that this is Andre's first match since WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
That's the attraction, is that.
And did they have a pay-per-view in between?
No.
Like they had
WrestleMania 3, and then 8 months later is the Survivor Series.
Yeah, because SummerSlam wasn't around yet.
Right.
Right?
The next year, yeah.
So this is like the next show after WrestleMania, which seems so crazy because WrestleMania's in March or April, and this is November. Now,
I do want to mention, and I remember seeing this a couple years ago on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's still up or not. But when Andre the Giant was making the rounds to help, sell people to watch the Princess Bride movie.
Sure.
He was on Good Morning America with Mandy Patinkin, who plays Indigo in the movie.
Right.
And they bring up at the end, when's your next match, Andre? And Andre's like, well, I got a match on Thanksgiving in Cleveland, Ohio. And then Mandy Patinkin's like, I'll be your partner. I'll team up with you. I'll be your partner. All right. We're going to do it.
That would have been great.
That would have been awesome. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
All right. So with that all done, we've got that all taken care of. We've had our turkey. We've had our dessert. We've watched countless hours of TV. Now it's time to settle down, watch the very first Survivor Series. So we'll just get through like the quick parts and then we'll get to the match. Gorilla and Jesse are introduced and they walk out to a huge ovation.
Yeah. It was like kind of the first thing you see.
And Jesse has a Pilgrim's hat on.
Yes, he does.
And it is not the last time we're going to see it.
When I saw him come out with the Pilgrim's hat on, I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah. So then we get the video intro, and then we're told the rules of the Survivor Series. So to be eliminated, pinfall, submission, disqualification, count out, or, this is my personal favorite, referee's discretion, any team member due to injury.
Yeah. That kind of surprised me when I heard that, because I even rewinded my video and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Can you say that right?
So with all that done, we go to the back. Craig DeGeorge is with the Honky Tonk Man and his team. And they're getting ready for their first match. And Honky Tonk Man proclaims that he has the greatest team ever assembled for the Survivor Series.
Well, it's the first match, so
I
sorry.
I default.
First match in the first Survivor Series. So,
I mean,
what are you comparing it to?
by default.
Yeah.
So during the interview, he says that if Elizabeth gets in his way, he will shake, rattle, and roll her.
I know. I was like, what?
I mean, you already pushed her down. We saw the video.
Shake, rattle, and roll her.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can interpret what that means.
Exactly. So after the heels get their entrance, Mean Gene is in the back with the babyface team, which is captained by Randy Savage. And he says that Honky Tonk Man hurt and embarrassed Elizabeth, and they're going to give him a bad time. And that's going to lead us to our first official match, the very first match in Survivor Series history. The Honky Tonk Man, the team captain, with Ron Bass, Dangerous Danny Davis, Harley Race, and Hercules against Randy Savage, the team captain, with teammates Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah, it was quite the team for Randy Savage here. And like I was trying to remember, and after doing some research, I realized WrestleMania 3 was the last show. And these two had, like, people say, the greatest match in WrestleMania history. And now the same team together. I thought that was interesting.
So, go ahead.
Jake Roberts being on a face team surprised me too, because he was kind of always like he went back and forth a few times, but I always think they're gonna heel. Macho Man was a heel in '87, so I guess he must have turned after WrestleMania somewhere, like on some weekly show. Like I was surprised that Randy Savage was on the babyface team. I really like this match. Honestly, it was like a good opener. It was. This is 5 versus 5, right? Like, people that listen to the show know that I don't really like matches that are long, and it seemed like a lot of these were over those 25 minutes. But when it's 5 versus 5, it does take time for eliminations. I thought it dragged a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. I like this opening match.
I do want to mention, because I listened to another podcast, if for any other notes that maybe I missed, Ricky Steamboat was not originally going to be in this match. This was originally the Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
However, for kayfabe reasons, Junkyard Dog's like, I'll step out. Ricky, you can take my spot. So he was never injured. It was just like, you can have my spot. That's the kind of guy I am.
What was the reason they took, like, they wanted the dragon in there instead
I guess. Yeah. All right. One of my favorite parts of this match is early in the match. Race and Duggan, they get eliminated. They're both counted out.
Yeah.
And they have to split them up. And I knew after it was said, it wasn't going to be on this tape. Because you could hear Duggan screaming, I want that son of a bitch. Let me get that son of a bitch.
I loved Hacksaw.
He is so good. Oh my gosh. One of the nicest
like I follow him on I follow him on social media, and he seems like he's doing okay now.
Yeah. He had a bit of a health scare a few months ago.
Going to like wrestling conventions with his wife and stuff, and seems like he's doing okay. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. All around, one of the nicest guys I've ever met in wrestling, Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
But no, this is
he's like one of those genuine guys.
Yeah. This is a fun match. It tells a really good story because Savage wants Honky. Like, there are a few times where it's like he wants him and it's either he misses or like the other teammates on Honky's side prevent him from getting to him.
Yeah.
And then when it's down to Honky as the only member against Savage, Roberts, and Steamboat, Jesse's having a fit. He's like, why are they doing this, Monsoon? And
Yeah.
Gorilla's like, well, he's a piece of garbage for what he did to Elizabeth. He deserves it.
I love their back and forth, honestly, Gorilla and Jesse.
That is such a good team.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like
So Honky Tonk Man gets counted out, and your sole survivors, Randy Savage, Jake Roberts, and Ricky Steamboat.
and Honky does the classic heel walk away and he does
Yes.
the shit and he grabs his Intercontinental title. He's like,
Yes.
I know. Like what that's what he has to do. He's the heel.
Mm-hmm. He
He's
is.
not gonna go in there and like try to beat three guys. He's gonna take his title and go home.
Yeah, and he never really had a chance once it was down to 3-on-1.
Yeah. Like it's an interesting booking because like you'd almost think that you'd want like the babyface team to overcome some obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have like Randy Savage have to face three guys and then he overcomes it. But I liked how they booked this too. What did you grade this match?
I was on the border of a B and a B minus. I ended up going with a B just because it was just fun to watch, but it's close to a B minus, but it's still a good match. Still a fun match to watch.
I gave it a B minus as I thought the end could have been different.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
A lot of the rating was probably the nostalgia of seeing some of these guys that I watched as a kid. And that's why it's fun doing the show with you. Like we don't just do Attitude Era or newer stuff.
Exactly.
Like go back and watch these shows. And I mentioned to say this before we started the first match. I thought there was something wrong with my device when I was watching this show. Just happened to be it was a show from '87, so the lighting wasn't that good.
Oh God. And the
I was trying to
mics.
set. I was like, oh man, what's up with this? I'm like changing the angle. And I like went into my settings to change. And I'm like, whoa, it kid screwed up my screen here. It's all shitty. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, oh wait, it's 1987. This is probably the best camera angle they had. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny that I
All right.
kind of forgot it was that long ago.
Now, what do you think mid to late 20s Dave Meltzer gave this match?
Oh man, are you serious?
I'm serious.
If I picked something from '87, we didn't have to talk about this piece of shit. See, I don't really know if he had turned into an idiot yet when he was in his mid-20s. He might still be a wrestling fan here.
Right.
Was he giving it quarter stars at this point? I'll probably say 1 and 3/4 stars because that seems like something that he would do on this match.
2.25.
Okay. So that 2.25 is what, like a C minus in our grading system?
Probably. But it's a passing grade though.
For like what? Well, if 5 stars is perfect, you'd think 2.5 stars would be 50%. So that's a fail.
Yeah, so he's like
he's failing Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah. I don't have the actual like newsletter up to see what he said. I'm just so
okay. Yeah, I didn't realize he was doing that far back.
Yeah.
So I like talking about what he said. So that's good.
All right. So we go to the back. We get an interview with Andre the Giant and his team. Bobby Heenan says that Andre was robbed at WrestleMania 3. He pinned Hogan, and tonight they're gonna beat him again. And I love the end of the interview. Andre is so good in this because as Craig DeGeorge is going to cut it back, Andre's like, "Shut up, shut up," and then he's like, "Hulk Hogan, I'm here for one reason. I'm here to get your soul.
Did Hogan kick out?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So then they
I don't
do.
know if he kicked out or not, but
If there was a
another
DVD,
angle.
there's a DVD. When they did the 50th anniversary of WWE or whatever, it came out years ago.
Yeah.
One of the bonus matches they had is Hogan and Andre, but the entire match is shot from the hard camera.
Oh yeah.
If they had used that angle for that part, oh, they could have convinced people. Oh,
Have you ever seen the match where Hogan's the heel and Andre is the babyface?
I think I have.
I think it's at an outdoor show.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that
Andre has this crazy afro. Hulk Hogan's got these white tights and he's like a heel.
right.
It's I've seen like clips of it. I was like really interested to see if
It's an interesting match.
we could find that somewhere.
Yeah.
If anyone knows, leave a comment.
Please.
I'd like to know.
All right. So our next match is the women's Survivor Series match. On one side, the team captain is the WWF Women's Champion, the sensational Sherry. Her partners, Dawn Marie, not that Dawn Marie.
Yeah, that name surprised me. I was like, what? Is there any relation?
I don't believe there is.
Okay.
Donna Cristinello and the Glamour Girls, Leilani Kai and Judy Martin. They are facing the team captained by the fabulous Moolah, who's at this point about 130, Rockin' Robin, Velvet McIntyre, and the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Was the fabulous Moolah always old as fuck? Because when I watched the Attitude Era, when Mae Young was there and Moolah was there, that was like late 90s.
Oh my God.
Right. 1987, still old as fuck.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like my favorite part of this match was Jesse Ventura's commentary.
Yes.
When he's 160 pounds, that's a little beefy for Moolah. I like spit my drink out. That's a little beefy for Moolah. Like, way to go, Jesse.
And then there's another part in the match.
We're Minnesota people.
And then there's another part in the match where Jesse's like, "Hey, Gorilla, I heard you and Moolah were sweethearts back in 1937."
Yeah.
It's like, 1937? I wasn't even born in 37.
He's the original Jerry Lawler. Because that's something Jerry Lawler would have said in like the 90s.
When was
he would have said something like that. So.
Oh, Monsoon actually was born in 37.
Wow, 37.
Well, so let's see. He's born in 37.
So he was 50 years old at this event. He seems so much.
Okay, that would mean if Moolah had a relationship with Gorilla Monsoon.
Oh my God.
She would have been 14.
Nice.
No, it's not.
14 when he was what? One?
Born. Or, yeah, when he was born, Moolah was 14 years old.
Jesus.
Damn, Jesse.
I thought she was born old.
Anyway, let's get to this match. I'll talk about this one. Right. Obviously, this is not a remembered Survivor Series match. I mean, people remember Sherry, people remember Moolah for wrong reasons as well as some right.
Yeah.
This was better than I remember this match being. I thought like this match was like Oh, okay. It's just on here. The Jumping Bomb Angels make this match.
They really do.
They really do. And Jesse is genuinely impressed by these girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are so amazing.
Like I wrote something down. I didn't know who the Jumping Bomb Angels were.
Right.
The rest, the rest I had either heard of or had seen before.
Mm-hmm.
When the match was over, I was wanting to see more matches from these girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like in 1987, Jumping Bomb Angels, they impressed me, man. Like the rest of the match, I wasn't a big fan of the rest of the match, I'll be honest with you, but they did impress me. But that might be more of I wasn't expecting a lot.
Right.
But
There is a match that I will recommend. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. I hope it is. They have a match. I want to say it's this time in Madison Square Garden. Them and the Glamour Girls, the same ones that are in this match. Oh my God, that is an amazing match.
like a tag match then, eh?
Tag match.
Okay.
They like that, like they just steal, whatever happened on that show in Madison Square Garden that day. They stole that show. That's how good that match is. And DK's frozen. Oh, no, he's moving.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I was actually going to search and see if that was on YouTube.
Yeah. So the Jumping Bomb Angels end up being the survivors of this match.
Yeah, if you like asked me to predict who would be the survivors when the match started,
it wouldn't have been them.
That I would have picked.
Yeah. I'll tell you another one that I was kind of impressed just from watching was Velvet McIntyre. She impressed me during this match.
She has a very nice last name.
Yes. So. And she wrestled barefoot.
What's your grade on this one?
I gave this a B.
Really?
I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
And you'd given the first match a B as well, right?
Mm-hmm. I would have this one like just a little bit higher than the other one, but not by much.
Well, higher than the other one, really?
Not by much.
I didn't see it that way. I gave this a C plus.
Okay.
But I wanted to, like, I wrote down in my notes that the Jumping Bomb Angels impressed me, and like the rest of the match I wasn't too into. It was kind of like that second match, like I thought the opening match was a lot better, but yeah, so we kind of disagree on the second match, but Jumping Bomb Angels
we agree on. Now before you guess Meltzer's rating, and this is kind of funny because I saw this show yesterday. After the show was over, I go, onto my computer here. The Jumping Bomb Angels are coming to a convention this summer in North Carolina. It is unbelievable. I got to pull it up real quick because I saw that and I'm like, holy crap. They're actually going. Yeah, this is their first ever convention appearance. So the Jumping Bomb Angels are going to reunite at this convention in Charlotte, North Carolina this coming August.
Wow. And like, okay, so this show was like 36 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing the math right there.
Yeah.
And how old do you think they were? They look very young, so
they had to be in their 20s,
probably early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in the almost 70 range.
What do you think Meltzer gave this match?
Well, since he gave the last one to 2.25 stars, I'm gonna go back to what I thought he would give the first match, and 1.75 stars. I'll say 1.75 stars.
You're very close. 2 stars.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Step away for 1 second.
All right.
But keep going. I'll be
Okay.
back in.
All right. So while DK goes away for a moment, we go to the back. Craig the George is back again, where he is with the Hart Foundation and their team, because we're going to have next a 10-on-10 Survivor Series match. And for some reason, well, I mean, I know the reason, but Bobby Heenan takes the majority of the promo. Like, he's the lead manager in this. Jimmy Hart, like, mid promo, is coming back from the previous match, and he's like having to change his jacket, and he comes back like mid promo. It's kind of a funny thing. So Craig asks them, well, where are the Bolsheviks? And Bobby's like, they're out in the ring. They're going to do a rendering, a stirring rendition of the Russian national anthem. So we go back and, excuse me, and Slick is in the ring, and he asks everyone to please rise and respect Nikolai Volkov's singing of the Soviet national anthem. So as he does this, Jesse stands and puts his hand over his heart as he's singing the national anthem.
Unbelievable.
And Gorilla's like, what are you doing? This isn't even our country. And Jesse's reply is great. He's like, I'm showing them respect. Plus, I'm also stretching my legs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought that part up, because that was a good part here.
That was. So after the heel team comes out, we go back to Gene Okerlund, who is with the babyface team, led by the new tag team champions, Strike Force. And they just say babyface stuff. There's nothing really special about that promo.
How long has Strike Force been a team at this point?
A few months.
I kind of forgot. Like, so, when did Rick Martel turn into like the model Rick Martel? This was like
89, I want to say.
So like he starts off as a babyface then,
mm-hmm.
turns into this heel model character later. Okay. Yeah.
So what happened, to kind of give a little bit of a background, Rick Martel originally is with Tom Zink, and they're known as the Can-Am Connection. Mm-hmm. Well, during their angle that they're having, Zink leaves the company. Like, he just is like, I quit. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So they do this thing where it's like Martel's without a partner for a while. And then Santana one day comes to his rescue, and that's how they, become Strike Force.
Okay.
And then a few weeks prior to the Survivor Series, they beat the Hart Foundation on TV for the tag titles. So they are like maybe 2 weeks in as the tag champs. So they're like fresh.
So you have that rivalry here with the Hart Foundation,
mm-hmm.
Strike Force.
Yeah.
Battling for the tag titles.
So let's go over the teams that are in this match. So the Hart Foundation are the captains. Their partners, the Bolsheviks, Demolition, the Dream Team, and the Islanders. They are going against Strike Force and their team of the British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, the Rougeau brothers, and the Young Stallions.
A lot of people.
Yeah. And this is where I notice, I mean, I've seen this a bunch of times, but it's kind of fun to notice. This is where they change the lighting during the show.
I know. See, I thought my computer was freaking out again. They got to put that in the notes. Like, hey, by the way, your device is okay. We just had to do something.
By the way, they effed up the lights again.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you start off with this match?
I thought this match was total chaos. I couldn't follow it. There's too much going on. I'll be honest with you. I was interested in it because like I knew a lot of these wrestlers like Brett obviously, and then different guys that I watched growing up.
Right.
But that's how I would describe this match, like controlled chaos. Like
That's
it
a
was
good.
hard to follow. I did not know what was going on, but in the long run, I still liked it. So
Yeah.
yeah, can't go wrong with that.
One thing that we should mention with this match that's different from the others is when one member of a team is eliminated, that whole team is gone.
See, that's the part I didn't know that.
Yeah, they say it in.
I don't know if I missed that part.
Yeah, I think he did because
It
they
was
do say it. It's like,
like one of those tag like battle royals. Like when
mm-hmm.
one guy gets eliminated, then you both have to go back. Okay, so
Like
that makes sense.
like here in this instance, I'm fine with that. But when you do it for a battle royal, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I think you got to eliminate both members. But
yeah,
Jesse again is gold during this match
yeah. He was the
because
star of the whole pay-per-view.
he talks about how his great 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 grandfather Ephraim the Body thing or Ventura was on the Mayflower.
From the body.
Ephraim the Body Ventura.
So that's where he got his nickname from, his
Yeah,
grandpa.
from his great 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 grandfather. Um. All right, I want to talk about a couple of like good spots during this match. One of which
I do have something written down too that I want to talk about, unless you say it. So
okay,
I'll let
I liked the Strike Force elimination because Tito hits the flying forearm on Jim Neihard, and it looks like he's gonna get the pin. But Bret Hart, and they do a good job with the camera angle because you don't see Bret like getting up and jumping, but he hits this elbow onto Santana, and
Yep.
Neihard quickly recovers, and that's how they eliminate the champs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done really well. Um, and then there's another point where you have Dynamite Kid and Haku in the ring at the same time. Dynamite goes for a headbutt. And when he hits Haku with the headbutt, Dynamite's head hurts more than Haku's. And they even pointed out, like, wow, Dynamite hurt himself on that. What else did you have?
So it's kind of funny, like the when Demolition gets eliminated from being disqualified, apparently they shoved the ref, but it wasn't even on camera.
Yes.
like that's when I found that funny. Like you just kind of like look in the corner and the ref's like down and he like throws them out of the match. So you just assume that's what happened, but
yeah. Now what's funny, because I'm gonna go back to this, is on the tape of that, and I never like I was like for years trying to figure it out. They don't have the Bulldogs eliminated on the videotape. So what happens is like they get to like a certain point and then they freeze for a minute and then they go back to the end of the match and the Bulldogs are gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did they go? Did they just disappear?
That's the thing I'm talking about. Controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Like,
see, and that's why I didn't go to the videotape of the show and watch it on the cock.
yeah.
The Hard Foundation elimination is really good because I think it's Haku or Tama hits a drop kick that would have given Bret the pin. but it gets reversed and Brett is eliminated. And then the ending is so weird because the Islanders are the only team left at this point. And they're facing 2 tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the Islanders are the ones in control. It is so weird.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
And then you get the ending where the bees have the masks on. They get the fall, and words that probably you'd never think would exist in 2023 do. The Killer Bees and the Young Stallions are the survivors of the match.
Right.
Not the Bulldogs, not Strike Force, not even the Rougeos.
Kind of like another surprise.
I mean, the Bees, I get because they're actually a pretty decent tag team, but
For sure. But like if
Stallions?
looking at all the teams that come out, all the Hall of Fame teams that you predicted to survive this match if you hadn't seen it before.
Right.
Wouldn't predict the Killer Bees and the Stallions to be the survivors, like Demolition's in there, Heart Foundation.
Like,
so,
if
I was surprised by the outcome.
If we were doing the gambling podcast and we never seen this show before, I'd have probably have put 4 units on at least the Bulldogs being the surviving team.
I like that. We might have to do a portion on our WrestleMania show this year on the gambling podcast.
Oh, I agree. All right. So, what did you think of this match?
I like this one. It's kind of a pattern in '87, man. Like they didn't mess around with gimmicks and nonsense. It was just like really good wrestling. I like this match. I gave this what did I give this? B minus.
This is my favorite match of the entire show. And I'm just gonna spoil it. All 4 are good matches. They really are.
They are.
But this one, for some reason, is just my favorite of the 4. I think because part of it is the nostalgia, like you said.
Yeah.
I think another part of it is the surprise element. Like, you don't expect Strike Force to be eliminated. Let me get the time on this one. 12 minutes into the match. Like, you'd think, okay, they're going to be there towards the end. You don't expect the Young Stallions to be at the end. And that's part of the good thing. I think that's part of the originality of the Survivor Series with this show that I think, maybe when we look back into other years and even today, they kind of miss that element, the element of surprise. Like the probably the most recent one that I can think of off the top of my head is that one year where Lana is the survivor of the match and she's in the ring for like 20 seconds and that's it. That is something that I think is completely missed in the Survivor Series matches, is the element of surprise where you don't expect this individual or this team to be like at the end or near the end with the chance to win. So I gave this a B plus. It is that good of a match.
Nice. Yeah, we're pretty close.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, what do you think Meltzer gave this match?
I'll probably say 2.5 stars. I think it's a little bit better.
All right.
Than the second match.
Not only is this the highest rated match of the show, it is the highest rated match between this and Starrcade. He gave this 4 stars.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He really liked this match. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little bit of a break from the action because Jesse Ventura would like to know what's the $1 Million Man doing on Thanksgiving? Because, that's what we all want to know in 1987. What's Ted DiBiase doing?
Probably getting himself a nice dinner.
Well, we get a very good, nice video package where we see him in the back of his limo and we see some of the different highlights of him humiliating fans to get money, which includes a kid attempting 10 push-ups. He only got to 9. A kid bouncing a basketball 15 times. He only got to 14. And a woman barking like a dog. And that one is kind of that one. I just want to mention it real quick. If you look at the woman, she kind of looks like Linda McMahon, but it's not Linda McMahon.
No. I'd have to go back to look.
Yeah. And then they also show the video of a fan kissing his foot. And that fan would end up being future WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam.
Really?
Yeah. So now we see Ted DiBiase in his mansion. He's not having turkey for Thanksgiving. Oh no. He's too sophisticated, DK. He has squall.
Squall.
It
Okay.
is a tiny bird. It's almost how in A Christmas Carol you see the Cratchit family, they're gathering around the table and they have like this little bird.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that looks like.
All right.
And then we see another video, this time of the $1 Million Man closing a public pool so he could have it all to himself, picking out kids and families.
Is there a better heel than $1 Million Man?
I mean,
like I always thought Triple H in the late '90s was pretty good, and Mr. McMahon character, but like, man, Ted DiBiase was good.
And then when you find out, like,
I hated him.
And then when you find out that Vince is like, pal, I'm giving you a blank check. Whatever you buy, we'll reimburse you.
Yeah.
So then we see Ted driving in a car wearing a fur coat as he leaves.
Yeah.
And Gorilla's like, that was absolutely disgusting. That was terrible.
Yeah.
So then Gorilla and Jesse, they recap the 3 previous matches, which we really don't need to get into.
Yeah, we kind of been doing that already.
Yeah, we kind of have. And then Gorilla mentions, the big match is coming up. It's Andre's first time in the ring since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, Craig DeGeorge is on a podium as he interviews the Honky Tonk Man. This was like, okay, this is the only thing that I could say anything bad about this show. I don't think we needed this segment.
No.
It's
almost like they were trying to fill time or something.
Yeah. So Honky Tonk Man basically says he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Nobody can beat him. He never wants to see Randy Savage again. And he challenges Hulk Hogan to a match for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Very, very odd.
Why would a heel challenge babyface?
For his belt, not the world title. For his
belt. Why wouldn't he, like, I don't know. Nothing about that segment made sense.
It didn't.
Like you said, I don't think they needed that. I totally agree with you.
But like you said, they probably needed to fill some time. So
yeah, probably.
All right. So now we're getting ready for the main event. And DK knows how much I hate this sometimes. The editing of music. Now, earlier we had it with Ricky Steamboat, but by this point, I've just am willing to accept it. I just am. We've been good all show until we get the crappy Rick Rude edited version. Oh, so bad.
I don't remember that happening for me. I might have to go back and check that out because, like, I know
have to.
with Peacock, you guys definitely have way more edits than we do here in Canada on the network.
So Heenan comes out to the ring with Rude and King Kong Bundy. Slick comes out with Butch Reed and One Man Gang. Mm-hmm. Bobby Heenan then takes the mic and he does the introduction for Andre. And he's like, ladies and gentlemen, and I use that term loosely.
He knows, so great.
Now coming to the ring, hailing from France.
Somewhere in France.
The eighth wonder of the world, the uncrowned champion, and the next World Wrestling Federation champion, Andre the Giant. Boo! He gets
boo Andre, so good.
He gets monster heel heat here.
Yeah.
So,
God, at this point.
Yeah. After WrestleMania 3, Hogan's a god. Yeah, like you said. So we go to the back. Mean Gene is with Hogan's team. And Hogan says, look how hungry they are. They're animals, is basically the gist of the promo. Mm-hmm. So Hogan's team comes out. Hogan comes out last and separate. So that's going to lead us to the main event.
Not much of a team player, is he?
I know, right? By himself. Well, I mean, to be fair, Andre came out by himself. So, yeah. So the match is
they're showcasing two main eventers.
Yeah. Andre the Giant, the team captain, with King Kong Bundy, Rick Rude, Butch Reed, and the One Man Gang against Hulk Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, Paul Orndorff, Ken Patera, and Don Muraco. Now, I have to explain that Muraco was not originally scheduled for this match.
No, it's supposed to be Superstar, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Superstar Billy Graham. But by this point, his hips were just so busted and so battered, he shouldn't even be in a ring.
Is that what happened? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they do an angle a few weeks prior to the show where the Gang and Butch Reed take out Billy Graham. And Muraco makes the save. And this is all part of Muraco's face turn. So Muraco ends up being the substitute for Billy Graham. So that's how he's in this match.
Okay.
Now, Gorilla and Jesse notice the referee in the ring for this match is Joey Morella, who was the referee for the Hogan Andre match. Mm. So they're like, oh, this is controversial. The referee from the title match is the ref for this match. So early in the match, the babyface team is just dominating the heels. Like, they beat up on Rude for a good amount of time. And then he tags in Butch Reed. Poor Butch Reed. He gets beat up. Hogan gives him the leg drop. 1, 2, 3. Reed is out of there. Then we get this great moment. Hogan's back is turned. Andre gets in the ring. And it's like, oh my God, Hogan doesn't know. Hogan does not know. So while he's doing this, Hogan, being the Einstein that he is giving everybody on the team high tens. And then when he gets to Ken Patera, who's like the last one he gives, the referee designates that as a tag. So Hogan then turns around to see Andre. He's about to fight him, and the ref's like, "No, you tagged him in. You got to get out of the ring."
Yeah.
And Jesse's upset, like, "Oh, Morella saved him again."
Yep. Yep.
So then we get good back and forth action for a little bit. It eventually gets to 3-on-3, and then Morocco gets eliminated. So now Andre's team is up 3-2. So it's Andre, Bundy, and the gang against Hogan and Bigelow. So it's basically Andre and the two biggest other members of the team against Hulk and the other biggest member on his team.
Yeah.
Bigelow is getting beat up. And then Jesse is like, Gorilla, I bet if it comes down to Hogan against those three, Hogan will leave just like Honky did earlier.
Yeah. Man, Jesse was so good in the show.
He's $1 million. Both of them are great on this show.
Yeah.
We don't talk about commentary that much, but when we do, it's because
it made the show for me, honestly, Jesse's reactions and then Gorilla going back at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He'll do what Honky did.
Oh, he will not. Will you stop? So Andre gets tagged in the ring. He grabs Bigelow by his shirt.
Yeah.
Gonna give him a punch. Bigelow, with his last bit of energy, kind of does not a cartwheel, but kind of a roll up.
Yeah.
And he tags Hogan. And the place explodes. And it's like, oh God, here we go. This is it. This is what we've waited for. Hogan gets in the ring. He's a house of fire. Goes right after Andre, gets him in a corner. Punch, 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 punch. So he knocks Bundy down. He knocks the gang down. He keeps going after Andre. He runs to the ropes, hits Andre. Runs to the ropes again, hits Andre again. He's going to do it a third time. He gets tripped up. Bundy pulls him out of the ring. So Hogan is fighting Bundy on the floor. Then the gang goes after him. Hogan body slams the gang on the floor. As he's making his way back to the ring, Bundy attacks Hogan. Hogan slams Bundy. By the time Hogan gets to the ring, he's been counted out.
Yeah, kind of a strange way for Hogan to be eliminated. But
but it's so good.
Yeah.
Because it's like Hogan.
He was really good. Really good.
Hogan never loses.
Never.
And if he loses, it's like a freak accident.
Yeah.
So you got Bobby Heenan over here and Slick. They're celebrating. They're hugging as if they just won the 7th game of the World Series.
Yeah.
And the refs are trying to tell Hogan, you got to go. And then,
oh, brother,
that didn't happen, brother. I was cheated. Yep. So then Howard Finkel announces, if Hogan does not leave the ring, the ref will award the match to Andre's team. And Hogan's like, all right, fuck you, brothers. I'm leaving. Okay, he didn't really say that, but so it is now 3 versus 1. Bigelow is the last guy on the team. So he starts with Bundy. And it's a good, it's a good little match there. Bundy goes for the avalanche. He misses. Bigelow goes to the apron. He does the slingshot splash.
Mm-hmm.
He eliminates Bundy. So, okay. Now you're down to 2-on-1. Gang comes in the ring. During this, Jesse asks Gorilla, "Hey, Gorilla, I know you're a betting man. What kind of odds would you put on Bigelow surviving?" And Gorilla's like, "At this point, I'd say 50-1. 50-1, huh? Well, the Twins were 150-1 and they won the World Series." Yeah, because, people today are going to remember the 1987 World Series.
I didn't remember that.
I was two. I was two. So the gang climbs the top rope. This is over 400 pounds. He goes for a splash
in 87
and misses. Bigelow rolls over. 1, 2, 3. The gang is gone. Oh my gosh. Now it's Bigelow and Andre. And Andre's like, "Forget it. You're not gonna win. I gonna win." He just takes advantage. Bigelow has no shot at this point. He does the double underhook suplex. 1, 2, 3. Andre wins. He is the sole survivor of the match. However, immediately after, Hulk Hogan runs out to the ring and hits Andre with his belt. And Jesse's having a fit.
Like a baby face does, right?
He's like, "What is he doing back out here? He lost." So they play Real American as Hogan starts to pose and celebrate. Okay.
What's 87, right? So you can't have the crowd go home mad.
Exactly. You got to have him go home happy.
You can have Hogan lose and have Andre as a survivor because you want to keep pushing that eventual rematch.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hogan comes out. The crowd doesn't care what he does to Andre.
No.
It's not like they're going to turn on him in this era. Then he gets the pose and everyone goes home. Hey, Survivor Series. Hogan, that was awesome.
All right. This of the 4. Okay, like I said, the previous match was the best match I thought of the show.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a story, this is the best story told on the show.
Because story, sure.
Because all Andre wants is Hogan. That's all he wants. And Hogan is kind of the same way. And then you have the fake tease early in the match. And then you have the real confrontation. And what they did very smartly with that is they kept it very brief. It was like maybe a minute and a half at most. And they did that so well that it made you go like, when they do meet, I want to see it. I want to be there.
So that's why you had to have Andre go over on Hogan.
Exactly. And I also have to give props to Bam Bam Bigelow. He's the final guy that's eliminated, but he comes off as a star after this match.
Yeah.
You beat Bundy, who main evented a WrestleMania. You beat the gang, and you're in the ring at the end with Andre. You're like the final guy to beat to win
You're made guy.
Yeah. I gave this a B. I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, like I thought the wrestling was better in the other 3 matches, but like I'm with you on this being the best story. Hogan losing by countout was really smart booking, I'd say.
It was.
To prolong that story. And I believe it's like a little bit later this year that Hogan loses to Andre for the title, right?
It's early 88.
It's early 88. So so like in a few months or whatever. Right. And then he sells it to Ted DiBiase. That whole he paid for the plastic surgery.
Right.
With the referees, which is like so good. Hogan overacting was great.
Yeah,
in that story.
It is.
But you know what? I agree with your grade. like I had it lower, but now thinking about the actual story, like Andre the Giant was not a good wrestler in this era. He was,
Right.
he wasn't in the
He was
best.
getting slower.
He was getting slower, like WrestleMania 3, but he's still iconic. It was an iconic moment. And Andre being the survivor, pretty good way to end it. And then you have Hogan come out and do his thing, and so he can flex, and everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did notice, like the crowd when Hogan was eliminated, it was like, oh, this is getting rowdy now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like your grade of a B. I agree with that.
All right.
What
Now what
did old Dave? What do
yeah,
you think?
what do you think he gave it?
Um, Meltzer kind of seems like more of like just like talks about like the wrestling in the ring, not maybe not storyline so much. So I'll probably say 2.25 stars.
3 3/4.
Okay, so he did kind of go with what we're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in all, like I enjoyed the show. It was a fun look back. I hope we do more reviews that are a little bit older that I don't
Yeah.
remember. So
So I just want to mention a couple other things to wrap up on Survivor Series. After the match, Andre and Bobby Heenan cut a promo with Gene, and then they go back to the crowd, and Jesse's like, I'm leaving Cleveland, and I'm thankful for that. So they leave and they show a highlight package of what had happened.
yeah,
Now, I can tell you this. This ends up being a pretty good weekend for the WWF because the next night, because I've actually seen this, Macho Man, Elizabeth, and Mean Gene Okerlund are guest hosts of a show called Friday Night Video on NBC. So, to give you guys the brief version of what that show is, it's basically guest hosts every week introducing music videos. So, on this week, the day after Thanksgiving, Hogan, or not Hogan, Savage, Elizabeth, and Okerlund are the hosts for that one. And then that Saturday is a Saturday night's main event where Hulk Hogan defends the title against King Kong Bundy and loses as a result of a countout.
it was a losing streak for Hogan.
Yeah, 2 in a row. How about that?
It doesn't happen to the old Terry.
Yeah. Other matches in this episode include George the Animal Steel defeating Danny Davis by disqualification. We probably will never review this, so I'll just hear the results anyway. Randy Savage defeats Bret Hart. And Bam Bam Bigelow defeats Hercules.
Cool. One thing I want to mention about the Survivor Series, which I'd like to know if this has happened since or has happened ever. Did you know or pay attention to this fun fact that I wrote down?
Okay.
Every champion lost at Survivor Series.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I found that extremely strange that that would happen. Like maybe they like to set up matches down the line.
You're right.
Yeah, like so like I wrote it down. Honky Tonk Man,
Lost.
IC champ. Sensational Cherry, women's
Lost.
champ. Glamour Girls were the women's tag champs, which I did
Lost.
not know they had women's tag champs before.
Yeah, it's kind of not as big as it is now, and even now it's not as big. So
The Strike Force tag champs, and
Lost.
of course Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research for future, see if that ever happens again.
Three of the four the babyface team won. Obviously the heel team won to kind of prolong that Andre Hogan story, which I thought was good. I think if I were to give like who were the stars of this pay-per-view, my number one star is Macho Man Randy Savage. I thought he was very good in that opening match.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of show that he was able to be that main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the next WrestleMania, he does win the tournament to become champion.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe WrestleMania 3 match with Steamboat and then his performance at this pay-per-view kind of maybe showed the people making the decisions that he's ready for this next opportunity. And then honorable mention for me would be Bam Bam Bigelow.
All right. For me, this is actually kind of fun. I
and
kind of
the Bomb Angels. I was going to introduce this on the last show and I forgot to do it. So like it's easy to say, oh, the star of the show is the heavyweight champion that won in the main event, but like the star of the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then maybe mention.
I
And I also have the jumping Bomb Angels in
I
there as
like
well.
that. Oh my gosh, this is a great segment.
All right, all right.
Okay, my star of the show for me, I gotta go with the Jumping Bomb Angels. It was something that fans in the US had never seen before. And WWE, this is the thing with WWF and women's wrestling in the late 80s. They failed to take advantage of an opportunity. The Jumping Bomb Angels gave them an opportunity to like catapult like that women's division, and they just didn't. Honorable mention, I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think Bam Bam's gonna get my honorable mention on this one. And you know what? I'm gonna do it not very often. A very special honorable mention to Jesse Ventura and Gorilla
Yeah,
Monsoon.
yeah, totally. Commentary can enhance a show.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes if the commentary is not good, it can make it not as good. So
Yeah, I mean,
these guys like that, they're the staple of the golden era. These arguing with each other. Some of the stuff they were saying so good.
like I'll be honest, I had not seen this show in a long time.
I had never seen it before. This is the first
This
time watching.
was a hell of a show. Like if it wasn't, yeah, exactly. It's a 4 match show. If it wasn't for WrestleMania 3, this probably would have been the show of the year. That's how good it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Like there's not like a whole lot of like shows per year at this point,
Right.
but maybe that's better. Like I said, like this era when you had like 2 or 3 big shows a year rather
Mm-hmm.
than a show every month, like you're getting the A+ effort out of these guys rather than a monthly pay-per-view.
I was thinking a little earlier because you had asked I think off air if I had picked someone to be our next profile.
Yeah.
I would like to nominate.
We will do a poll this time, I think.
Yeah, we're going to do a poll.
Nominate somebody.
I would like to nominate the Honky Tonk Man just because of this show. He's another good one. So that's going to be
certain like years for Honky.
I'd say 87 to 89.
Okay.
Because 90, he's in a tag team.
Yeah.
I kind of want to look at his singles run.
87 to 89. I'll probably find somebody in a different era then.
Okay.
I would be very surprised unless I come up with some controversial figure if Honky doesn't win that poll. We'll shake, rattle, and roll you.
Yep. All right. You guys can join our Facebook group, the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. That's all you got to type in.
Yeah, we're the only DK and Bill Wrestling podcast
that I know of. Yeah. And please spread the word. We've been doing this for a few years. I think you guys are really liking the reviews.
Yeah, it does seem like we want some feedback. Comment on the channel, and it does seem like the reviews are getting a little bit more love than the profiles for interest. So maybe we'll up the reviews a little bit more if that's the case.
Yeah.
What's it give us a chance to watch old wrestling? And
I know, right?
Like if we're doing a wrestler, I usually just do some research on my own.
Yeah.
With the reviews, you sit down, you set up the show, and then you watch each match. It's fun.
So next time around, we'll give our thoughts on Crown Jewel because it'll be happening this weekend.
Yep.
And then we'll do a wrestler profile.
We'll probably be Honky Tonk Man and the Crown Jewel recap.
Unless DK can come up with somebody else that could beat Honky. So
we'll see. Yeah. I'm gonna rag my brain. I'll post it later tonight.
Right. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning into this episode of the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you're listening on the podcast, give us 5 stars, leave a review. The more that people, read and see this, the more we get noticed. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll talk to you all next time.